I've been a police officer for 12 years. I've been assigned to Metro SWAT for 10 years, and in that time on Metro SWAT I've done a number of different jobs. I was a breacher, a shield operator, and an entry team member. I started my firearms instruction within the police department approximately 10 years ago, and I've carried that on to provide that instruction not just for law enforcement but also for military and responsible armed private citizens. I saw a need to get that kind of training out and get people the opportunity to come out to a range and learn the fundamentals of marksmanship and learn how to apply that in a dynamic, stressful environment. I think there's a lack of reality-based training where people can go out to the range and explore different scenarios that they might run into in real life, rather than just the static square range mentality that you get at a lot of the public ranges, in this area. It's vital in training to not only practice, but to practice perfect. So that's how my training is different. It's all done on the range. It's not done in a classroom setting watching someone else do things. It's by doing things yourself, by putting hands on, by building that muscle memory of repetition, repetition, repetition. So my goal when we get to the range is to harvest every last bit of performance out of each individual student. So I keep a very low student to instructor ratio so I can spend a lot of one-on-one time with the student and get every last bit of performance out of that student.
Accurately. Okay. So it's not a total time thing. If the rounds are outside the circle, no go, right? So take your time, put them through the same hole. Everybody good with that? Yeah. So think stance, is my grip good? Yep. Sight alignment, sight picture. Trigger press, press the trigger straight to the rear, finish flat, follow through, reset the trigger, realign the sight, start the process over. Okay, so show good marksmanship fundamentals.
I think there's a huge responsibility for anyone that carries a gun, whether it's a person that carries a gun for a living or a responsible armed citizen, to seek the highest level of training possible, because not only is it a responsibility, but it's also a liability. So you have to work through all these possible errors in training to where when it's time to protect yourself or your loved ones, that you're able to do that, because you're not going to rise to the occasion, you're going to follow your level of training. I'm comfortable training a variety of different types of shooters. I've trained shooters from ground zero, children starting out learning how to shoot, all the way to military, law enforcement, SWAT operators, patrol officers, and everything in between. My goal for training is to shorten the learning curve for the students. It's not black magic, it's not voodoo, it's a compilation of my training and experience over the years rolled into a package that makes it easier for the student to learn. It shortens the learning curve, requires less time, less ammo to get to the meat and potatoes. In my career, I've seen a lot of bad things happen to good people. That's why it's so important that each individual is prepared for those scenarios so that when they do occur, that they can overcome. And it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Firearms training is something that's near and dear to my heart. It's something that I do professionally and recreationally. So my goal is to have my students learn from my experiences, both on the job and in training. My goal as an instructor is to provide you with the training that you need to be a better shooter than I am. So when you're ready to make that happen, give me a call. I'd love to see you on the range.